Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Toma Nation's weekly Sunday worship service. We are the Toma Nation, aka the Temple of Mercy Association, located in Chicago, Illinois, in the Inglewood community at 838 West Marquette Road. Our founder is Minister Raheem Kassed Aten. Our First Lady is Sister Makita Aisha Aten. And we are here to bring the Word of God to God's people. Now, if you've been following us, you know that we've been covering some very important things happening to Black people in America these past couple of weeks. From the lynchings to the gun violence, and a lot of other issues that we find ourselves facing as Black people here in the United States. Today, I am going to be talking about a very important topic. And we here at Toma Nation, this isn't the first time we have discussed um, economics, especially during this month. For those of you who don't know, August is National Black Business Month across America. And so here in Illinois, we honor National Black Business Month from the founder of the United Black American Progress Association, Dr. Webb Evans. And that is how we recognize Black Business Month here in the state of Illinois. And shout out to Representative LaShawn Ford and Brother Reuben Fellows who made that happen. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about economics. I believe last year the title of this lecture was Economics is the Highest Form of Warfare. The title of the lecture today is The Boycott Continues, because we really need to have a conversation about economics and how it's related to the struggle that we find ourselves in, and understanding that we know and the data shows that Black people are under the economic bottom in this country, that our wealth per family is behind that of Latinos, whites, Asians. And so we really have to look at, with the money that we have, with the, because money is a resource, right? Money, it's just money is just like your blood, right? If you cut off the circulation of your blood, what's gonna happen? You're gonna die. And so when you cut off the circulation of the Black dollar from circulating in the Black community, we have what we see right now, where our communities are in a state of disrepair because our dollar is not circulating in our community. It's not circulating enough to help support schools. It's not circulating enough to help support business. It's not circulating enough to help support our communities. And so this is why our communities are in a state of disrepair. And yes, we know disinvestment from, you know, the city, the state, and the feds, disinvestment in funds from our community. But we also have to look at, it's also a disinvestment from us. Hey, Brother Will, can I get a water? So I'm going to talk about this topic. If you like this lecture or any of our previous lectures and you would like to know more about how to join us here live in person, you can always comment if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, or you can send us a text at 773-846-3091. All right. I'm going to start off by doing our opening. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, and he who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites and Egyptians as Amun Ra and Aten, among the Hebrews as Ansal, Yahweh, and Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims in the Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribes of West Africa as Olodumare, Ashu, and many other Orisha names. I bear witness that all of these names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, the descendants of those Black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are that lost 13th tribe, born here in North America, and are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. Excuse me. I greet you in the ancient, yet holy words of peace, Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Ashe, Ashe. So, as I said, the title of my lecture today is The Boycott Continues. So, we have to understand that as Black people, even though we only represent a certain percentage of the population here in the United States, that we do have power. And I know that with everything that's going on, from the lynchings and the economic uncertainty and all of these things that we're being bombarded with on a daily basis, that a lot of our people are in a state of disarray. They don't know, you know, what's going to happen with the rising food costs. They don't know what food is safe with all the food recalls. They are concerned about the social safety nets, from housing to SNAP benefits to the public school system and all of these things. And even the political climate is giving us a lot of uncertainty. But we have to understand that as Black people, we have never been a race of people to take anything lying down. And as you see, if you are paying attention to any of the social medias, whether you're on old school Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Snapchat, like, people are really fed up, and they are voicing their concerns with all of these things that's affecting Black people, from the lynchings and the murders to everything else that I just mentioned. And so when you look at, you know, Black people, we have been doing this since we've been on these shores of America, fighting for ourselves, because we understand, well, some of us understand, and some of us need to uh, come to understand that we have no friends here in America. We have no friends here in America. And if 2026 have not shown you, you should understand that we have no friends here in America. For example, a couple months ago, not a couple, however many months ago that was, when that Latino police officer was calling Black people niggas and talking about all the things she was doing to Black people when she was arresting them, the police officer, I forgot what state, what city she's from. And when Black people went ham on social media, calling her out, saying she should be fired and all these other things, the Latino community told us that we were overreacting, right? They told us that we were overreacting. And then some of them in the Latino community showed us that they love their proximity to whiteness. And then that concept of their proximity to whiteness, that they can use that to do to us the same thing that white people do to us. And so they showed us that. They showed us the cross. Didn't matter. It was the Mexicans. It was the Cubans. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just crazy. And you can go back and look at some of those posts and look and see the response of the Latino community. Now, when we go from the Latino community to the Asian community, and we look at, as we got the verdict, when Rick Child was acquitted after he murdered Cyrus Belton, and his mom calling for a boycott of businesses that don't respect your babies, that don't respect you. And then that boycott kind of skyrocketed to a lot of Black people in different cities across America participating in the boycott. Now, we know that there was a lot of, pushback from that. And then, we had certain people saying, well, there was the video of the guy who was saying, well, oh, stop spending your money in Asian businesses. We don't want your money. And so that really hit off some more Black people boycotting Asian businesses. And then we had people saying, oh, well, don't boycott, Asian businesses for a couple of bad apples. But here's the thing. If we did a survey on TikTok of Black people in every major city that has Asian owned businesses, for example, a beauty supply store, and asked them, have they ever experienced racial profiling inside of that store? I believe we know what the answer to that will be. And when I say I believe we know what the answer to that will be, I'm talking to Black people. Either yourself, your children, or someone you know has been racially profiled in an Asian beauty supply store. And you can't tell me that it doesn't happen, because I've seen it myself. I've experienced it myself. Many of us have. And so this notion of boycotting businesses that disrespect us is not anything new. And so when you look at National Black Business Month, is a perfect opportunity, because see, here we believe, as Dr. Webb Evans would say, we believe in doing this and that. So we're not just saying boycott businesses that disrespect us. Now, this doesn't just include Asian owned businesses. This includes any business that disrespects us. I remember, um, we've seen the videos, right, of Black people going into establishments and the people being disrespectful or just outright saying, we don't serve Black people here. Or I remember there was, I believe, a Black woman, I believe it was Michigan, and she went to a car shop, an auto shop, and I think she was trying to get something done to her car, and they were racist and told her that they weren't gonna do anything for her car. And I think she had like posted it on social media, and we've seen restaurants, we've seen bars, Black people coming on social media saying that, oh, they won't let Black people inside of this bar, or they won't let us inside of this restaurant, and all of these other things. And we even saw the physical violence going on inside of these stores. We saw the pregnant Black woman with her child inside of the convenience store, and the white woman jumped over ran around from the counter and beat her and made her have a miscarriage. We saw, and this is what's going on right now. We get sometimes numb to these videos when we see these things happening. But also, when you look at this concept of boycotting businesses that disrespect us, we should not be trying to give our money to anyone that is disrespecting us. This isn't the civil rights movement where we're fighting to eat at the lunch counter. This is, our dollars are hard earned, and we should not be supporting any entities that disrespect us. I don't care if you're in a Walmart, I don't care if you're in a beauty supply, I don't care if you're in a gas station, a grocery store. If that business is disrespecting your people, if that business is disrespecting you and your family, then why are you giving your money to that business? Why are we fighting to give our money to the same people that hate us? Why are we fighting to give our money to the same people that take glee in our babies being shot in the back, and our people being hung from trees, and our people being murdered? This racial violence is only going to get worse. And so why are we supporting the same people who don't care about our lives? Why are we supporting the same people who, the minute they see us, the minute they see the color of our skin, they criminalize us as a criminal? But we can be, and if you don't have to believe anything I say. Go on social media and look at sometimes of these videos when Black people are in the store, say for example a Walmart, and somebody is following them around the store. But then they got video on a white person just shoving stuff in their book bag, or shoving stuff under their jacket or under their coat, and just walking out the store. Because they were so focused on us that they didn't see the other people that don't have the skin tone stealing. Now, I know for some of us, when we look at the civil rights movement and fighting at the lunch counters and fighting, um, you know, for the water fountains and all of these things about us being able to have access to the same thing as other races, and that's fine. But we choose and we make a conscious decision where we spend our dollars. Now, we can look at the Target boycott. You know, it's so much stuff going on with us in America. We really, really, really have to figure out how we're going to come together because us working in these silos is not working. When you are so scattered across the city, across the state, across the country, yes, we have social media, and a lot of people are utilizing social media to fight back, to, you know, use the resources that they have to hold people accountable. But it goes beyond social media. What are we doing offline? How are we bringing in the people who aren't on social media? How are we working together intergenerationally to fight these issues that we're facing? I want you to think about that. Now let's look at Target. Now, when we look at how organizers stood outside of the corporate headquarters of Target and called for a nationwide boycott after they rolled back their DIE commitments. Now we know that foot traffic stops, stock prices wobbled, and we proved with our feet and our wallets that we can affect these businesses. That economics is the highest form of warfare because that's the only thing that they understand. Us crying, us holding up protest signs, us putting our bodies in danger at these courthouses and all of these other things, those are tactics, but they are not a solution to the problem. And so, as we talk about fighting together collectively, we have to understand the difference between tactics when we're looking at a strategic plan to fight back. And we also have to understand that this notion, when I say fighting back, is nothing new to us. We've been fighting back since indigenous black people were on these shores. We've been fighting black from those of us who are descended from those who survived the transatlantic slave trade. We've been fighting back. We've been fighting back from the Nat Turner days to the Marcus Garvey days to the Malcolm X days, to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad days, to the even now, looking at Minister Louis Farrakhan. We've been fighting back for so long. And that fight continues. And part of that fight is an economic fight. You have to understand. Now, and when you look at how divided we are, the issue with Target and Jay-Z is a prime example of we have to stand our ground. Whether or not, we don't need everybody to be on the same accord, because we also know that in the organizing history of black people in America, small groups of people have moved mountains. Small groups of people have done great work. And so we don't have to just depend on, but we can hold accountable and call out someone like Jay-Z and his whole situation with the album and Target, putting that album in a place where he knows that we've been boycotting. You got to hold him accountable. Even though he did that, how many of you went out and bought that album? Let's look at Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. What does that spike inside of your mind? That's not a metaphor. Think about the relationship between black consumers and these companies that don't hide how they feel about us. Think about how every dollar we spend outside our own community without demanding reciprocity is a small act of servitude to these businesses, to these companies, and it's freely given. We are freely being servants of these institutions, of these banks, of these beauty supplies, of these nail shops, of these corporate owned stores in our community. We are freely giving them our resources. We are freely giving them our dollar. You understand? Freely giving it to them. We are freely giving our dollar to institutions that don't support us. Now let's look at the Holy Quran. Let's look at Surah 2, Ayat 261. The parable of those who spend their substance in the way of Allah is that of a grain of corn. It groweth 7 ears, and each ear hath 100 grains. One seed properly planted becomes 700. Now, if we're still using the substances that Allah has bestowed upon us, and we're using that to support businesses that clearly hate us, what does that say about us? What does that say about how we view ourselves? What does that say about how we love ourselves, how we love our families, how we love our community? Or in reverse, what does that say about how we hate ourselves and how we hate our families, how we hate the skin that we're in, and how we hate our communities, and we're still supporting institutions that don't like us? That institutions that I saw a video here from Chicago of some sisters who was trying to get into a bar in Wrigleyville, and the bouncers were not letting them in, even though the bouncers that worked there were black, but that other people were coming into the bar, but they weren't letting black people in. That white women, white men were just going in freely, but they weren't letting the black people in. And they were on social media and they were talking about it. And then in the comments, people was like, like, how we are when we see something like that. How about, instead of being like, hey, this business did not want to let us in, let's hold them accountable so that we can get in. How about we flip the script and say, this business don't want to let us in, forget that business, and put the word out to black people that you shouldn't support this business because they don't like people who look like us. How about that one? How about we stop fighting to get these people our money and hold them accountable by putting the call out to other black people to not support those businesses? Think about that. Now we know here, if you follow us at Toma Nation, we talk about circulating the black dollar so much. Now we've talked about Dr. Claude Anderson. We talked about S.B. Fuller. We talked about the Honorable Mosiah Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Right? We talked about all of these people, and we talked about the legacies. We talked about Dr. Webb Evans, the legacies that were left behind, the blueprints that were left behind for us to follow. But here in 2026, we still begging people who hate us to take our money. Now, make that make sense. I just want you to let that sit and just marinate. That we're still begging people who don't like us to take our money in 2026. That don't make sense. Now, oh, I didn't realize it was already 1 o'clock. Now, if you are enjoying what you are hearing and you would like more information about how to join us in person, come to any of our upcoming events, or support us, you can reach out to us by dropping a comment on Facebook or YouTube or shooting us a text at 773-846-3091. Now, I mentioned the Target boycott. We know that the Asian store boycott is still going on. And this is the thing. We know when we do boycotts, not all people follow it. And that's okay. To each his own. But when we're talking about boycotting, like I said, we're talking about doing this and that. So we're not just talking about boycotting. We're also talking about how are we funneling those black dollars that we were spending or going to spend with institutions and businesses that hate us to black businesses? How are we funneling those beauty supply dollars to black owned beauty supplies? And I mentioned this in my previous lecture. Some boycotts, they don't have to be hard as you think, as some of us visualize in our mind about boycotts. I mentioned this before. It don't matter if you, like me, and you're a black woman who wear wigs or lace fronts or braiding hair, right? Or you enjoy a 30-inch bust down, right? Flowing down your back, right? It doesn't matter. You don't have to spend that money with people who don't like you. Find you a black beauty supply store in person or online to buy your hair. You understand what I'm saying? It's plenty of black businesses that sell human hair. Don't get your hair from an Asian owned store. Get your hair from a black owned business. Now with Google and AI, there's no reason why we can't find black businesses to spend our money. And understanding that sometimes the AI can be racist. Whether you're using Claude or Chat GPT, you can do simple searches based off of your zip code to pull up these businesses and these websites. It's the same thing with those of you who like getting your nails done every week, who like getting the manis and the pedis, who like getting your eyebrows done, who are you getting the I'm keeping real with you getting them chin hairs waxed, you getting those mustaches waxed. You don't have to get that done at an Asian owned beauty supply when you on Google Translate trying to figure out what they saying. There are plenty of black owned nail shops. There are plenty of black owned businesses that have estheticians that are licensed that can do those same things. So when we talk about boycotting, we're talking about doing this and that. Stop supporting businesses that disrespect you and funnel that money into black owned businesses. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It's the same thing when I mentioned these restaurants and these businesses that are disrespectful to us when we're in the restaurant and we still want to give them our money. As it's a funny saying in black families. If you grew up in a black family and you were a child and you were like, oh, mom or dad, can we go to McDonald's? And your parents would say, you got McDonald's money? Or your parents would say, you got McDonald's in the house. Well, guess what? You got fried rice in the house. You got egg foo young in the house. You got that kimchi fried rice in the house. You got those things in the house. You can get the ingredients and make it yourself, or you can support these black owned businesses who are doing Asian inspired dishes. The black owned hibachis, right? The black owned businesses on DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub that are doing Asian inspired dishes, that are doing egg rolls, that are doing the lo mein, that are doing those dishes that you like, that are doing the pepper steak, that are doing the vegetarian dishes. So we have no excuse not to support black owned businesses. And as I mentioned before, August is National Black Business Month. How many black businesses have you supported in the month of August? It is August 16th. The month is already halfway gone. How many dollars have you spent with black owned businesses? Now, here at Toma Nation, we're here in Chicago. So we have black owned businesses from the south side to the west side to the east side to the south suburbs to the north suburbs. We got black owned businesses everywhere. And the black owned businesses cover such a breadth of industries. We got black electricians, black plumbers, black beauty supplies. We got black estheticians. We got black schools. We have all of these things, all of these businesses, all of these black businesses. We got black owned furniture stores. We got black owned, I don't know what you call them, men's clothing stores. We got black owned women's clothing stores. We got black owned cafes. We got black owned restaurants. For those of us in Chicago, there's really no excuse because we know, like Dr. Webb Evans, the founder of the United Black American Progress Association, he would go and think about it. This was before the internet. This was before social media. This was Dr. Webb Evans driving around finding black businesses to spend his money with. He would go to the far south suburbs. He would go over to Indiana if that meant that he found a black business that had what he was looking for. He wouldn't use the excuse of, oh, I can't find a black business that has this, that has blank. He would go find it and spend his dollars there to support those black owned businesses. Because we know that black owned businesses go in business and out of business very quickly. Why? Because of this internal racism that we have, that other people's things are better than what the black man or the black woman is producing. Minister Raheem calls it something along the lines of the white man's Snicker is better than the black man's Snicker, even though they taste the same. Now that's real. And these are conversations that you have to have internally. These are conversations that you need to have with your family. Because when we support black businesses and black businesses expand and they're able to hire people from the community, they're able to hire more people who look like them, then that means that there are more opportunities for your children. Instead of having to go beg institutions to hire them, instead of crying on social media that they couldn't find a summer job, that we have these black businesses that we can send our kids to go work for the summer, to go get a job with. Do you know how many black businesses that we have that they take youth under their umbrella and teach them the business that they're in? That they take return to citizens under their umbrella and teach them the business? We gotta look at Brother Clyde, the president of UNIA 429, and how he takes youth and returning citizens under his wing to teach them the construction game, to teach them roofing, to teach them plumbing and all these other things that he does in his own business, to teach them so that they don't have to rely on the system that hates them to feed themselves. There are plenty of Clydes in our community that are doing the same thing. But how are we supporting those businesses? How are we rerouting the money that we're spending with businesses that hate us to those businesses that support us, that give back to the community? I had a lot to say. I'm looking up a scripture, and then I'll be getting ready to close out. But if you are liking this lecture or any of our previous lectures, you can always feel free to drop us a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, or shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. I'm going to share, I always mispronounce this, but Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. We can take that multiple ways. I'm gonna repeat it. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This season of boycotts is not determined by a start date and an end date. This season of boycotts is determined while us stop giving our money to people who hate us, to people who hate our skin color, to people who hate our children, to people who clearly and are not hiding the fact that they don't like us. And so that season is here for us to see it. With social media, they can't hide it. With the actions like doing away with the DEI programs and all these other things, they're showing us how they feel about us. And what's that saying? Uh, I can't remember. It's something like, if they show you how they are, believe them. See, that's our problem. We act like we got selective memory. Black people act like we got short memory. That people and businesses are showing us how they are. They showing us what they believe, and we don't believe them. We're giving excuses for them. We're doing the, oh, it's not all, or oh, I'm cool with, or oh, my coworker, or my baby daddy, or my husband, or my best friend is. Make that make sense. Stop giving them excuses. We give more excuses for the people who don't look like us than we give love to the people who look like us in our own communities. When our people do something, it's a one and done. Oh, send them up the river, throw them under the jail. But white people and non-blacks are doing us dirty on a day-to-day basis. And we all in the comments on social media talking about, it's not all. We know it's not all. But we have to look at the collective benefit. We have to look at the collective benefit. When we talk about the boycotting Asian businesses, we know it's not all Asians. We know there's groups of Asians who don't even get along with each other. But as long as these businesses, as long as these Asian businesses are in our community disrespecting us, as long as these Asian businesses, do you remember, I don't know, I can't remember where that business was in Chicago, but it happened at multiple stores of the Asian store owners putting their hands on black women in the store, locking black women in the store and beating them up. And then here we go, right back, giving them our dollars. We can talk about the Arab-owned stores and them being disrespectful and the over sexualization of black women inside of these stores, the over sexualization of black children inside of these stores. But yet here we go on a daily basis. Assalamu alaikum, Habibi. On a daily basis, going and supporting these businesses that we know doing us dirty. And when we talk about doing us dirty, it's not just the following us around our stores. It's not just the over sexualization of black boys and black girls. It's not just the disrespectful to black women. We have stores in our community that sell us rotting food, and we willingly go buy this rotting food. We have stores in our community that sell us expired food, and we willingly go support these businesses. We willingly be their economic service. We willingly give over our hard-earned dollars to these businesses who are saying, we don't care about you, with the quality of what they have on their store shelves. We support businesses that are in our community selling children's clothes with inappropriate sayings on these shirts. Got our little girls walking around here with sayings that are over sexualized in their bodies that we're buying from these stores, that we're still being willing servants, handing over our dollars to people who disrespect us and literally hate us. And so that's a conversation that you need to have with yourself. Are you going to continue to do that? Or is your family going to continue to do that? Are you having these conversations with the people in your family? Because we know black people, we get used to stuff. We look over stuff. We're so used to everybody doing us dirty that we just look over it. We're so used to people following us around in these stores. Some of us, we just be like, it's part of the course. We just go do what we do and then check out and then leave the store. But when is enough enough? And that piece around to everything, there is a season that's in the scripture, that's in the Holy Bible, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This season that we're in, where we're seeing the racial violence, where we're seeing black people being hung from trees, where we're seeing the cover-ups from the police and the government agencies ruling these as suicide, with one of the most recent ones where they had to get a fire truck to get the young lady's body down from the tree, where we're seeing black children in foster care being murdered, where we're seeing black children in foster care being murdered by their foster brothers and sisters who don't look like them, when we're seeing black children, black teens in foster care, pregnant, being beat by other white children in foster care. That's attempted murder. It's only getting worse. But we're in this season that Trump has put us under to allow our enemies to show us how they really feel, to show us what's really in their hearts, to show us what's really in their soul. And for some of us, we didn't believe it. For some of us, we still can't believe it. There's all of these influencers on social media who go track down racist posts and then investigate who is behind the post. And it's these same, and I mentioned this in previous lectures, it's these same people who you're allowed in your house, who you work with, who's your comfortable white person, the one that you invite to the cookout, the one that you lay next to at night. It's these same people that are showing their racist behind on social media. I was just looking at a video of a biracial boy, and he was identifying as black. And his white father was so mad. The boy had a haircut. And his father was saying, oh, that's too urban. And you know, when white people say that that's too urban, you know they mean that's cold words for that's too black. And even the mama saying, oh, you're biracial. And then he like, no, I'm black. Because the mother is black. And the fact that he had to reiterate to them, his own parents, more than once, I'm black. And with the white father being so uncomfortable with his son calling himself black, make that make sense. And then instead of the black mom backing him up, we have to remember, and I'm gonna say this until the cows come home, as the old people used to say. I think I said the right. Till the crows come home, the cows come home, or whatever you say. White people can come to the cookout. They can kiki in with you. They can sing the lyrics to the black songs. They can dance to the black music. They can eat the seasoned food from the black people. They can come over your house. You can go over their house. You shouldn't be. But we've seen enough what happens when black people are going over white people's houses or going with groups of white people by themselves. We've seen the result of that. So please don't still be doing that. But that's your comfortable white, right? I used to have some comfortable whites. But guess what? In 2026, we have to be real about this season of racial terror that we're under, that white people and non-blacks are invoking on black people, where they are looking for an excuse to attack us, when they're looking for an excuse to assault us, when they're looking for an excuse to murder us, when they're looking for an excuse to shoot our babies in the back. We have to understand that we are under this season, that, like I said, this season of racial terror, this season of racial violence, when America is showing us in real time how they really feel about black people. And we have to pay attention. And so when we talk about these strategies, we can't be so discombobulated that, oh, because someone is over here, you in Mississippi, you in South Carolina, you in Chicago, you in Los Angeles, you in New York. There's a way that we can work together in unity so that we can be more effective on whatever strategy that we're doing. And here at Toma Nation, we don't play that. Here at Toma Nation, we're about unity, bringing black people together. So if you want to join Toma Nation, if you want to learn more about who we are and what we do and how we can work together so we can address the modern day lynching and the new news, that we can address this racial terror and racial violence against black people, that we can address this racial bias at these jobs and in these schools, then come on and join the Toma Nation. Reach out to us. Drop us a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube. Shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. We have a coalition called the We Care Coalition that we're looking to restart. That is We Care. We Care. The We Care Coalition, to address and come together around the gun violence, around the tsunami of guns in our communities, around this racial terror, racial violence, around this discrimination that we're experiencing. That for us to join hands, many heads are better than one. And you don't have to be in Chicago to do that. If you would like more information, shoot us a text. Drop us a comment. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, we are a grassroots movement here in Chicago. We don't receive government grants. Our cash app is on the screen. If you are liking what you are hearing and you see our red, black, and green flag, and you understand what we're talking about when we're saying that we have to come together as a people, because unity is the solution. Unity is the solution. We do not have to dress alike. We don't have to talk alike. We don't have to listen to the same music. We don't have to eat the same food. We don't have to be the same shade of black. We don't have to be the same religion. We don't have to live on the same side of town. But none of those things should divide us from wanting to join together and fight for better for our black people, fight for better for ourselves, for our families and our communities. And that's something you got to ask yourself, because it doesn't matter if you are a if you are a poor black person and you receive government benefits. It doesn't matter if you are a rich black person. We're all being affected by these lynchings, by this discrimination, by this racial terror and racial violence. How many of the videos have you seen with black people who got some money and they're being pulled over and being terrorized by police? They're being terrorized by their white neighbors in their communities. It doesn't matter what economic bracket you find ourselves in, because for some of us, they'll be like, oh, well, it's a politics issue, or oh, it's a class issue. No, it's a black issue. And it's an issue that America has hated us since we've been on these shores. And in order to us to have a truly great effect for fighting for ourselves, we need to join together as a people, but then also hold those black people accountable. Like they're saying, all kinfolk and all, what is it? All skin folk and kinfolk. We saw that with the whole situation with Norman Wales, with fellow black people showing their behind because, like some of the non-blacks, they want to be so close to white supremacy, they want to suck on the teeth of the white man and throw us to the wayside. We got to hold those people accountable too. That's why when Nation, when we say on Sundays, this is a worship service. Worship, WARSHIP. Because we are at war. Whether you believe it or not, you should believe it. Because anytime you turn on your social media, you can see it. We're being hung from trees. We're being murdered. We're being shot in the back. We're being terrorized. And we've done nothing wrong. It doesn't matter if we're walking while black. It doesn't matter if we're shopping while black. It doesn't matter if we're driving while black. It doesn't matter if we're breathing while black. It doesn't matter if we're on our own land. Our own land that we bought with our own hard-earned money. That our enemies have the audacity to terrorize us. And so I know I said a lot, but if you would like a part 2 of this lecture, or you would like more information on any of our previous lectures, you can always drop us a comment or shoot us a text at 773-846-3091. And also, when we have lectures like this, sometimes, we get feedback and people are like, oh, you guys sound kind of racist. We're not racist. We're black first. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to support and protect people who look like you. Other races practice it all the time. I don't know why when we do it, it's an issue. Why when we do it, it's racist. Why when we have directories to find black-owned businesses or to find black-owned doctors, that's racist. If we weren't under a racist system like America, we wouldn't have to do those things. If we weren't under a racist system that will support non-black people to come in black communities and open up businesses and do everything in their power to stop black people from opening up businesses in their own community, we wouldn't have to do these things. Thank you so much for joining us for our Nation weekly Sunday worship service. We are located in the Chicago community. I mean, in Chicago, in the Inglewood community, on the south side, at 838 West Marquette Road. If you have liked what you have heard, please shoot us a comment on Facebook or YouTube, or send us a text at 773-846-3091. We have some amazing things coming up. We're doing an event coming up in Inglewood, so stay tuned for more details about that. And then also, we will be releasing a August version of our Wake Up newspaper that will be digital, and we will have some printed copies, so that you can get the information. We will be talking about lynching. We will be continuing this conversation about the economic boycotts. And then there will be a foreword from our founder, our leader, teacher, and guide, Minister Raheem Kassett Aten, talking about how we can come together and what those solutions are. So thank you so much for joining us for our Toma Nation Weekly Sunday Worship Service. Once again, feel free to drop us a comment if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube. And see you next Sunday. Will, you got to stop because my